Hi, my name is Muhammad HANNAN bin Muhammad NASIR. My matrix number is 0205 14389. So I am from Fine Arts Student, AD248. So today, I'm going to representing about the topic of harmony in geometric and Islamic art, specifically focusing on the principle of Iznik composition. So, this subject is an exploration into how Islamic spiritual beliefs are deeply embedded in visual form. Through Iznik ceramic, we see how geometry and aesthetic are just decorative tools, but sacred expression of faith and unity. Let's begin by looking at what we aim for understand today. Hi, my name is Muhammad Hanan bin Muhammad NASIR. My matrix number is 0205 14389. So I am from Fine Arts Student, AD248. So today, I'm going to representing about the topic of harmony in geometric and Islamic art, specifically focusing on the principle of Iznik composition. So, this subject is an exploration into how Islamic spiritual beliefs are deeply embedded in visual form. Through Iznik ceramic, we see how geometry and aesthetic are just decorative tools, but sacred expression of faith and unity. Let's begin by looking at what we aim for understand today. Hi, my name is Muhammad Hanan bin Muhammad NASIR. My matrix number is 0205 14389. So I am from Fine Arts Student, AD248. So today, I'm going to representing about the topic of harmony in geometric and Islamic art, specifically focusing on the principle of Iznik composition. So, this subject is an exploration into how Islamic spiritual beliefs are deeply embedded in visual form. Through Iznik ceramic, we see how geometry and aesthetic are just decorative tools, but sacred expression of faith and unity. Let's begin by looking at what we aim for understand today. In this presentation, we will explore three main objectives. First, we will understand the formal structure of Iznik composition, how artists approach layout, symmetry, and proportion. Second, we will look at the visual tools they use, such as geometry, motifs, and layering techniques. Finally, we will connect three visual forms through Islamic aesthetics, revealing how spiritual ideas like unity, harmony, and abstraction were expressed through art. This will give us insight into how design become a form of devotion. So, what is Iznik ceramic? Iznik ceramic were one of the highest expression of Ottoman decorative art produced in the town of Iznik between the 5th and 7th centuries. These ceramic were admired for their vivid glazes, intricate patterns, and architectural importance. But beyond their beauty, Iznik works are deeply rooted in Islamic aesthetic. Unlike Western traditions, Islamic art avoid portrait or literal scenes. Instead, it communicates through pattern, repetition, and geometry, symbol of the divine order. This is what makes Iznik ceramic so compelling. They are both technically brilliant and spiritually resonant. Every design choice reflects Islamic values, Tawhid, which is unity, Ihsan, excellence, and Zikir, remembrances. Let's begin with the foundation of Iznik design, structure, and sacred form. The composition in Iznik ceramics are not random. They follow strict system of symmetry, proportion, and radial layout. Artists use mirror, element, and central focal point to visual balance. This method reflects the Islamic belief in Tawhid or the unity of God. Designs were initially created on paper using folded cartoons, ensuring every side was symmetrical. These were more than aesthetic decisions. They were spiritual constructions using order to reflect divine perfection. Every symmetrical curve, balance, form become a visual metaphor for balance in faith and the cosmos. The second is the architecture of ornament. The structure of Iznik art relies heavily on geometric framework, star, circles, polygons, and grids. These act like architectural blueprints, ensuring order and continuity across each surface. Design often follow a radial layout, expanding from the center outward or based on quadrant symmetry. These layouts make sure that patterns on tiles could connect assemblies in large panels, such as most walls. Geometry in this context is more than mathematics. It symbolizes spiritual order and divine harmony. It's a reminder that behind all creation is a perfect and balanced design. Next is from motif to masterpiece. Iznik artists use a rich vocabulary of ornamental motifs to construct their composition. This came from three main styles. First is Hatai, which includes Chinese-influenced floral pattern, soft and flowy. The second one is Rumi, inspired by Roman, Byzantine scrolls and animal-like shapes. The third is Islami, which consists of stylized plant forms arranged in flowing Arabic curves. These motifs weren't just chosen for beauty, they carry cultural and spiritual meaning. The blending of Eastern and Western influence in this motif speak to Islam's historical engagement with knowledge and aesthetics across civilizations. The result is a harmonious fusion that feels universal yet deeply rooted in Islamic tradition. Moreover, faith expressed through form. A key feature of Islamic art is its avoidance of human figures, focusing instead of abstraction and pattern. This reflects the belief that only God can create life, and so artists choose to express the divine through geometry and repetition. In Iznik ceramics, repetitions become a form of visual zikr or a remembrance of God. The consistent use of rhythmic patterns invites the viewer into a contemplative, almost meditative state. Abstraction allows the design to transcend the material world and focus on the internal. This principle makes every tile and plate a spiritual reflection and act of worship through form. Lastly, visual communication and execution. These intricate designs were developed in the Nakashin or Imperial Workshop. Artists will create detailed paper cartoons, pierce them with small holes, and dust them with pigment to transfer the outline onto ceramic surfaces. This method allows for high precision and consistency. Across many artworks, it also shows how meticulous planning and craftsmanship work hand in hand. The process itself reflects discipline, focus, and reverence. Each step an expression of devotion to beauty and faith. In conclusion, working on this project taught me that Iznik ceramics are more than just beautiful objects. They are a language of faith and intellect. I learned how Islamic aesthetics aren't merely decorative but are rooted in theology, philosophy, and spirituality. One challenge was learning to balance the logic of geometry with the emotional depth of art, which how to make something precise yet spiritual. Another was understanding how symbolic each motif is. Even the simplest rosette carries meaning. Spiritually, I came to see that every repeating pattern reflects unity. Every curve embodies balance, and every design invites quiet contemplation. Formally, Iznik composition is a system, but not a rigid one. It's a disciplined art form grounded in sacred ceremony. So that's all for my presentation today. Thank you very much.